Greetings from Christu Jayanti College. This is Liji George, Assistant Professor in the Department of Statistics. We will be doing a recap. We'll be going through the recap of what we saw in the last 1 week on our topic, industrial statistics. So the recap is as follows. First, we saw about range. Then we talked about S or sigma. The symbol that you see over there is sigma. Then we talked about X bar, mean or the average. And based on these are in a statistical language called as the statistic, the measurements that we have taken from the sample. Any measurements that you take from a sample is called a statistic. So these were the three important statistics that you studied in the last 1 week: range, sigma, and the average or mean. And based on these, we learned the construction of 4 charts. First one being R chart. Then we studied about S chart or sigma chart. The next we talked about X bar R charts. So they are the combination of 2 charts taken together. We can construct X bar chart individually too, but to do that, you have to calculate the statistic R. And the next one that you studied was X bar S chart or X bar sigma chart. For this too, you need to study the statistic X bar as well as standard deviation denoted as sigma. So these were the things that we saw in the last 1 week. Now, unit 2 is control charts for variables. Now, what do you mean by variable? Variable is any quantitative characteristics that can be measured. It can be measured absolutely clearly. That variable is called a quantitative variable. Now, we may be looking at the length, we may be looking at the weight, whatever be the characteristics. We denote it in a statistical language as X. Let X be the qualitative characteristics measured on the manufactured item, which has a mean. Now, expectation of X, E of X is what we say in a statistical language as expectation, which is otherwise known as the average or mean. Mean is denoted by mu, and the variance of that random variable turns out to be what we denote as sigma square. So we have measured some quantitative characteristic, and for that quantitative characteristic, we know what is its average. That means we have calculated it out. We know what is its standard deviation. This mu is called the process mean, and the sigma is called the process standard deviation. This mu and sigma together are called the process standards. So when we are talking about a statistical quality control, these all come under process control. So during the production process, what are the controls that we do? So we measure things, we find out what is their mean, we find out what is their variance, and we standardize them. And those standards that we call, they are called the process standards, denoted by mu and sigma. So when we are talking about achieving control charts, we first try to control R or sigma. Now these R or sigma are the measures of dispersion. They try to see how is the data spread. They try to give a number to denote the spread of the data. And once we have controlled that, once we've controlled that, then we go in ahead with controlling the average. And that is why whenever we talk about control charts, we first talk about controlling the dispersion. The easiest measure of dispersion is range. A more cruder measure is the crudest measure is range. A more refined measure is standard deviation. And then we talk about X bar chart. So R is range. As you all have seen it, range is the difference between the maximum observation and minimum observation. Standard deviation sigma, it is a square root of the squares of the deviation of the observations from their respective mean, the average of that. And mean, as we all know, it is sum of all observations divided by number of observations. So these three statistics, range, sigma, and X bar, these are the three statistics